everyone, this is Jacqueline Gordon Kane, and welcome to the book club of Lessons Learned as a Woman, a book that I wrote. And I wrote this book because I want to share some shortcuts to living a full life through the experiences that I have been through as a woman, and I want to share with others. So now we're on chapter 6, and chapter 6 is work-life balance. This is an area that I had to deal with more often than I want to talk about, because I am a sold out person. If you hire me to do anything, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to go beyond and above anything that you ask, because I believe in excellence. With that being said, I had a hard time balancing work and family. So that's why I want to write this in the book. See, I was a single parent for 9 years for my two daughters, Melanie and Kia. And I was the breadwinner, meaning I had to put food on the table no matter what. And with that being said, I think it blinded me with fear of, if I didn't do more than what was required, I would not have a job and I would not be able to provide for those two little girls that I was trying to raise at the time. So I think that's where it first stemmed from, having that fear of not being able to say no and not being able to have a balance when it came to work. And that fear grew into a point where I would be working. One job I worked so hard, I traveled, and my sister had to help me with my girls, which worked out okay, but she had to help me with them because I was so afraid if I said no, I can't travel, I would lose a job. Then I had a job where I worked at a church and I had no balance. I confused working, serving God, and putting everything else aside and not having a balance. Now this is critical. Listen to this. I worked so hard at that church that I would be at the church sometime 3 o'clock in the morning. And at the time, Lee Kane and I had started dating, and he would call the house for me maybe 10 o'clock at night, and my daughter Kia would answer the phone. He would say, "Where's your mom?" "Oh, she's at work." And he would call me on my cell phone. "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm at work." He said, "Your children are home at 10 o'clock, and they were of age." Kia was okay. Let me make that clear. But the problem was, I was focusing on work so hard that I forgot I had children at home who needed me too. And I confused working for God, working for man, and taking care of my family. The Lord wasn't asking me to abandon my girls to be at work at 10 o'clock at night. No. I was trying to please man, not God. So when I did that, I ended up damaging my heart more and more and more, because I felt guilty every time I had to go to work and I had to say no, or I had to leave work to go take care of them if they were sick. And it just grew into this ball of confusion, this ball of mismanaging my time and not having boundaries to say no when I need to say no. So that's one of the things I want to make sure I wrote in this book, is how do you balance your work life? Even if you're working in the church, even if you're working in corporate America, even if you're working for yourself, even if you're a stay-at-home mom, how do you balance separating the things that you need to get done, whether it be a job or at home, and how do you balance time for yourself? So let's dig into this chapter right quick. Okay, so I say here, taking time to have a balanced life will surely make life much easier. I write this chapter with a full heart. This area will be one of the most difficult ones if you do not have a work versus life balance. The first thing, doing what you love, is critical. Take the time to evaluate your life and choose a career that you love. See, that is part of the problem. If you're working in a place that you don't like, it's impossible to have a work-life balance, because you're already dreading it. So if you're dreading it, you're already miserable. And if you're already miserable, you're going to do what you got to do to get by, which means that you have nothing left when you get home. You get the point? So you need to evaluate whether or not that place you're working at, that situation you're in right now, is it worth it? Because where do you go from here? Then I go on to say, I really struggled in this area because I did not understand that family is more important than pleasing the boss. Everybody need a job. Let me tell you something. Everybody need income coming in. It would be naive for me to say you don't need money coming in your house. You just gotta just pray about it and let it fall from the sky. No, a worker is due his wages. The Word of God talks about that. When you don't work, when you're lazy, you don't get what you need. So most of us have to work. Most of us have to be in an environment where we got to bring in income. So why not evaluate what you need to be doing? Tap into the Holy Spirit to tell you what you need to be doing, how you need to be doing, and how you need to balance it so your family does not suffer from not being in an environment that allows you to be able to say no to your boss. Then I go on to say, a people pleaser is what I called myself. It was important for me to show others my loyalty. This sometimes caused my priorities to be unbalanced. I called myself a people pleaser because that's exactly what I was. I was so concerned about people liking me, proving to myself that I can do the job, proving that I'm good at what I do, when I should have just let my work speak for itself. Now that I'm older, I get it. My work speaks for itself. If you hire me to do a job, don't judge anything but the job that I'm doing, because I'm going to show you that my work speaks for itself. And you need to have that in your heart to be able to draw the line in the sand. You do your job, and you do your job as unto God. So when that job ends, God can get you another. And I tell people this all the time. Don't have so much fear that you got to be in that job that you sell your soul to the devil. You get me? Don't do that. Do your job. Do it well. Do it with excellence. But make sure you're bold enough to let your boss know what you need in a respectful and kind manner so that you can be balanced. You have children. Thank God for the new family leave law where you cannot be fired if you have to go and take care of a family member if they're sick or something. Thank God for it. Learn what the laws are. Talk with your boss in kindness. Learn how to say, I'm sorry. I love my job. I want to do a great job for you, but I got to go and take care of my family. Or I need to take care of this, and then I can get right back with you. Learn how to have a balance so that you're not always frazzled because you're pulling yourself in so many different ways. And then I go on to say, it is critical that you take the time to take vacations. Make sure you take vacation. Every vacation day that you have earned, make taking time to rest and vacate on a normal routine. My husband is excellent at this. When it's time for him to go on vacation, he goes on vacation, and I have learned the same thing. My girls and I just went to Paris for a week with some friends, and it was a wonderful trip. And for the first time, I didn't dread leaving work, because I have learned over the years that you do your job as unto God, then everything will fall into place. And it was a beautiful trip, and I relaxed. I didn't have any work on my mind. I wasn't concerned about any issues coming up. I just enjoyed the moment, because I had to learn work is work, family is family, my time is my time. Did you get that? Work is work, family is family, my time is my time. So I had to learn how to divide my time up and balance what I was doing, and learning to draw the line in the sand when it comes to that physical job that you have, because God is more important, and He'll make sure you're taken care of as long as you're doing your job in excellence. So with this chapter, you got to get the book and read down. It tells you to not hesitate, to let people know if you're unavailable. You do it in a respectful manner. You have, when you take a job, you need to be upfront with them when they offer you the job and you accept the job, and you just be upfront with them and let them know family is a priority to you, that you're going to give them 120, 50, 199%, whatever you want to tell them, because it's showing you do go above and beyond on your job. But family is very important to you. And when you let them know that family is important to you, they already know that when something come up with your family, you got to take care of it. Don't abuse the system though, because if you have a habit of abusing the system, then they're going to eventually figure out a way to get rid of you. Make sure that you are a person of character and integrity. When you get on that job, you give them everything that you have. But when it's time for you to take time for yourself, your family, and getting in God's face, you make that a priority to balance your life. Don't be afraid to say no. I had to learn to say no. on the job if it was something I couldn't do. In my relationships, it was something I couldn't do. With my family, it was something I could not do. I had to learn to say no. I must buy out this time. I'm sorry, my schedule is too full. Or give me a rain check and I promise you I'll make it up to you. But anything you need to do to make sure you balance it. But when you take a job, be clear on being a family person, and a family is a priority. And my husband told me the other day, his boss said the same thing. And I met my husband's previous boss, and they all told me the same thing. You know, lead and let us know family's a priority. And when I went through breast cancer and he had to take time off work to help take care of me, all of his bosses and his co-workers was like, Jackie, you know what, Lee is a very good person, because he took off to take care of you, and his whole talk is about his family. And when it's time for him to clock out in the evening time, he's in that car and he's gone. And everybody knew that up front. So when he got the job, he explained to them that family was important to him. And he never stayed over unless he had a project he was working on. He didn't make it a habit, because once you start giving someone something they're expecting, and that was my downfall, I would stay over, I would do more than what was asked to do, which was good, but I didn't have a balance of not giving too much so that I would not be able to say no, because what you give them is what they're going to be looking for. So learn how to balance it, learn how to do your very best, and make sure that they're okay with you having family and a life. So it says, do what is right and leave the consequences up to the Lord, because he has your back. I wrote this down. I heard it somewhere and I don't remember where I heard it at, but it stuck with me, that you do what is right and you leave the consequences up to the Lord, because he has your back. So you do what's right, you leave the consequences up to him. If he's moving on your heart to spend more time with your family, to go on vacation, to spend more time on yourself, you do what's right and you let God handle the consequences. Because I'm telling you, when you leave that job, they're going to find someone to replace you just like you, or even better. So never think that you're not replaceable. So you take the time and you look after you and balance your work life and learn how to say no and enjoy life a little bit. Take time for yourself, because you are broken. Everyone around you is broken. Got it? Thank you so much. Again, this is Jacqueline Gordon Kane. Go ahead on my website, jacquelinekane.org, or on Amazon and order your copy of the book so you can read along with me. God bless.